Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Check out this video. In case you didn't see it more than once, this is how a Good Morning Rabbi Sai is supposed to sound. Right over here. You ready? Good morning, Rabbi Sai. That's how 700 people, I don't know how many. Nachamal. Now, hold on. But there's another one. There is another one. This is take two at the same place. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. It was a special treat to spend time learning live in the MDY man cave this past week. I came back to Toronto with MDY withdrawal, but Baruch Hashem, I was saved by a special member of MDY, the MDY graphic designer and marketing genius, Morty Rubin. The boys, I get to meet Morty Rubin. He's a real gem. Does a lot for MDY, and we have something planned, something tremendous that might come out before Ksubas. If it's going to work, it's going to be a game changer. Morty Rubin was visiting Toronto. I had the privilege to spend time this morning with him, see picture attached. Thank you to Steinlauf for letting me know he was in town. Wishing you and your family, the entire extended MDY family, a wonderful Shabbos and Yontif. See you again in the soon. Mayor Planka. We have a lot of guests in the house. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Leib Schreiber.
Leib Schreiber from?
Lakewood, New Jersey.
No way. Lakewood, New Jersey's in the house. And you? Helmi Nusba from?
Staten Island.
Staten Island?
Grew up in Lakewood.
Grew up in Lakewood. And I was born in Lakewood. So good. Gewaldic. Wow. Learning the daf before a quiz to celebrate the platinum jubilee of the Queen, 70 years on the throne. What's going on here? We don't understand these things. They actually make a Suda, Rabbi Schoenberg. They make a Suda, like the front people, like
70 years.
We don't know about this. We don't care about this. They make a Suda. Look, like he has a flag and everything. No, I mean, yeah, covered on Malchus. It's a mitzvah, the Araisa. I know people are very mocking on these things. The holidays don't stop us from learning the daf. It was obviously a good segulah as our team won the quiz. Stephen Mason, Manchester, England. Steve Jakubowski. I pulled the Chumash off the shelf today. The inscription on the front cover inspired me to sponsor the daf in the merit of Reb Eli's mom. May your neshama have an aliyah, Chag Sameach. P.S. The Asuf sends his regards. I told you the story that there was a knock on the door, Lil Pesach by the Seder. I opened up the door and there's a child in a basket, an Asufi. That's his child. So Steve is a big lawyer in Chicago, and the Chumashim I donated probably 26 years ago. It's not only Peiros Boil Mabah, but it's Peiros Boil Mazeh. Somebody sponsored $180 because he saw it. Givaldic. It's paying off. Rabbi Yosef, if you were wondering why Mati Middledorf is sitting in this seat right over here and not Nachman Seltzer, we found the answer. Without Rishus, he went to England. Jonathan Stefansky upgrade. Very nice. Nobody heard that. Huh? Mazel tov to you for showing up. Because had you been here yesterday, you would have known. Oh. Hi, Rav Eli. I've written to you many times, never have you read my emails. So I thought I can get your attention when I saw that he wants to go back. Anybody want to trade with him? See below, Menachem Seltz is coming to the UK. Maybe he's arrived already. I couldn't believe what I saw. P.S. Also ideas. This is the first email I'm reading of his. He's very upset I didn't read the emails. MDY merch ideas. We got one from Avi Gargir, Baruch Hashem. We didn't read that one. Here's a merch. Shabbos and Yontif napkins. Pens and car stickers. More ideas to come. Can't wait. Wishing you, Rebellion, and your family, Chag Sameach Shavuos, Matan Torah, MDY member Itzik Ben Shabbat, London. And here somebody sent me a mini Baldman watching the share, he said. All right. The Koil sponsored Latzlach Kol Mishpachas MDY. Ahron Fraiman, Lzchus, continue parnasah, siyadta, dishmaya, Latzlach to Rebelli. By the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best segulah. Le'ilu nishmas chaya bas yosef. Today's shir is sponsored by Binyamin Shaw, Refuah, sheleima for Yosef, Simcha, chaim, Ben Sarah Chana. By David Steinlauf. Yartzheit of My Father, Avraham Shlomo ben Yosef and Shama ben Eliyah, Steve Jakobowski, Lili Nishmas, Rusbas Mordechai Alei Shalom, whose Mary Torah was and is being delivered to us. Actually, my mother was named Rus because of Shavuos. She was born right before Shavuos. On the honor of the birth of the grandson of the Welcher and Spiegel families today in Yerushalayim. Anybody see Leon lately? Still on? Yeah, every day. Okay, I don't hear from him. Shlomo Kertzner, Refuah sheleima for bracha Freda. There's two sponsors here for the same people. Shlomo Kertzner, Refuah sheleima for bracha Freda Bas Chana Bela and Tinoikes Bas bracha Freda. We also have Morty Moskowitz. Refuah sheleima for bracha Freda Bas Chana Bela and Tinoikes Bas bracha Freda. Two people that don't seem related, Shlomo Kertzner and Morty Moskowitz, both sponsoring for these people. Harry Carey. Michael Leichter's 40th birthday. Michael has inspired hundreds of people to join MDY. And there's another one that didn't show up. So while I get it, let me just tell you that the shir on Yontif, after the meal, is at 1 a.m. in the morning right here. We'll record another one on Matzah Yontif at 11:30. The shir on Matzah Yontif is at 10:30. I have to do it at 10:30 because I'm not going to have time with everything going on. I need a little bit more time, so excuse me for the extra half hour. I hope that, okay. So hold on. Baruch and Jeff Rosenberg and family. Lili Nishmas Yitzchok Tzvi Ben Reuven HaKohen's Yartzheit, 8th Yartzheit. So Nachamo. Today is Friday. Shabbos' daf is going to be Motzei Shabbos, which is Yontif, at 1 a.m. right here. Refreshments sponsored.
Where's the chart?
Refreshments sponsored by. He wants to know. Gary wants to know how come there's no chart for this. Now, Motzei Yontif is like a Motzei Shabbos. Shir is going to be at 10:30, and then another shir at 11:30. The second shir is going to be a repeat. Same jokes, same pauses, same songs, same everything, zero refreshments. Do not come if you were there the first year because it will be very uncomfortable for me to make the same stupid jokes. Rabbi Schoenberg is coming to the second year, Baruch Hashem, because he won't be here the first year. He told me already. All right. Rabbi say another announcement. It's Yontif. And you know what happens in Yontif? Many people drop out of the daf. We saw it on Pesach. But this is a 2-day, I'm concerned. The 2-day Yontif, sometimes people, I missed 3 days in America, 3-day Yontif. It's very, very bad. So if you're watching this shir and you're in America and you had an assignment, you didn't learn on Shavuos, you didn't do the daf, do not fall out. Just do the next day's daf. Rabbi said it's that simple. Just continue on with everybody else. And I want to tell you a quick piece for Shavuos, very, very quick. In this week's Omer Kaz, a special Shavuos edition, the typicals here, you have Rabbi Schoenberg, you have...
Listed in the front. Listen in the front.
Oh my goodness. Look at this. It's 30 people. Does it say Stefansky here? Doesn't even say my name in here. Great. So I was just going to say it over real quick, but much better than it's written here because I just gave them a 1-minute thing last night. I should move my laptop. I need it here. Today is the first 48th day in the Omer. 48th day in the Omer. Unbelievable. Rabbi say, thanks for being with us throughout the entire Omer. It's amazing. We did it again. Everybody, Givaldik. Thanks to Nechemi Seltzer and Yosef for putting it out. Okay. When Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, that was like Erusin, an engagement. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us from all the people in Mitzrayim. He chose us as the nation. Matan Torah on Har Sinai was the chuppah like the chasana. So, when you go to a wedding, everybody recognizes the kala. She's wearing a white dress. But how does anybody recognize the chasan? They all look the same, those chasana, those men. And the answer is, you see who takes the kala home. The one who goes away in the limo with the kala, that is the chasan. On Shavuos, the person who walks away with the Torah, he's the chasan. Shavuos is a zguli day. It's a day to achieve tremendous things in Torah. And one of the things I recommend is instead of coming to shul and eating a lot of cheesecake and schmoozing and drinking coffee, grab a Gemara Yevamos. Try to do 10 daf b'retzifus. See how good that feels. Sit down by a table, do chazara. Chazara. But finally, one of the big ideas to be zoicha to Torah on Shavuos, again, Matan Torah, the day of Torah, is using the concept of ki ish echad belev echad. We are one, the achtos. We talk about achtos and MDY all day long. Achtos. What does it mean? Achtos doesn't necessarily mean that you are polite to the person next to you and you could stand him and you give a half a smile. Achdos means to appreciate every single yid for who they are and what they are. Everybody's different. This person has a Rebbe, this person doesn't know what a Rebbe is, this person believes in the Medina, this person hates the Medina. But when you could look at another yid and say, you know what, every yid has koiches, every yid is special in his own way. What are those koiches? To recognize that, that's true achdos, and with that, Yartzheit the Torah, Rabbi Say, a brand new perek. We are pretty much done with Yibum, with halachas of Yibum. We might go into a little bit of chalitza. Today, we're going to be discussing Eidim, Eidos, completely different topic. Aguna, Eidos, Eidechad. When do you believe Eidechad? When don't you believe Eidechad? Why are you allowed to eat at your friend's house and trust his kashrus of meat? Because of the concept that Eidechad neman b'yisur. But if
we trust our wives.
Rashi says, and why do we trust our wives? The same question. Why? How can we trust our own wives? I don't want to say it, but you want to bring it up? It's in the same Rashi that says, how do you trust your friend? So, I'm saying, what does she gain by buying treif meat? The guy over there, I don't want to mention his name, he gained a couple of cents per pound. Your own wife, but here's the question. Think about this question. Are you permitted to go in the street here in Ramat Bet Shemesh on Erev Shabbos? Is beautiful. People are selling their own homemade hummuses and stuff and cakes and this and that out in the street. Everybody sets up a stand. People Thursday night are making their own chont in their backyard, and people hang out in the backyard till 1 o'clock in the morning drinking beer, eating their chont without a hechsher. It says in a big sign, all ingredients are badats. Could we trust that? No, Rabbi Say, is there a problem eating this chont? It's a huge problem. Because Eidechad neman b'yisurim is only 101, you go to somebody there. But 400 years ago, there were misakin that the Vad, Arba Rod says, misakin, you should not eat without a hechsher if somebody's selling it commercially. So we have to see. These are things we're going to discuss today. They're off topic, but we'll discuss it anyways.
What does badat mean?
Whatever you want it to mean. What?
Basically said it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
People say that.
But that's Eidah Charedis. Says the Mishnah. The Mishnah is sponsored by their own Korn Bluth, who's with us today. Oh, with us. Welcome back. When did you get back?
Monday.
You've been here since Monday? Kind of. L'zeich nishmas Avi, his father, Uri ben Matisyo, and Lzchus Ruchnis and Gashmis for his children. Ha'isha shalach ba'al Medina Sayam. Her husband disappears, goes away. Ubo v'amru la meis balach. Now the lashon v'amru is plural, but we're going to see that it means a single eid echad came and said, I saw your husband is dead. You're not an aguna. Then he says, and she got married, and then knock on the door, surprise, surprise. Here she has 5 children with the new guy, and all of a sudden, her husband shows up. She must get divorced from both husbands. And she needs a get, even though the second marriage never was chal. She was just mezana with the second guy. But she needs a get, we're going to see. Vein lok suba. So it goes like this. Rabbi say, I'll tell you the whole sugya. There's a special takana because we don't want women to remain agunois. It's a terrible thing. We don't know where the husband is. We don't know what happened to him. Maybe he's in jail somewhere. Maybe he died somewhere. Back in the day, we have no idea. He traveled. Maybe got lost at sea. She can't get married. So, special heter, allowing an Eid Echad to testify in a rayas and say that she's not Eishes, she could get married. However, if she messes up and she gets married and her husband's still alive, there are 16 consequences. 16. Including losing her nursing homes, losing her payros, losing her clothing. She needs gittin from everybody. We make her meshuga. She has to go to this bed. Imagine getting a get from one guy. Some people it takes them years and years to get a get from two people. It's just extra things that we put on her to make sure that if she's going to get married, she's 100% certain. She trusts this Eidach 100%, not using it as a cool, oh yeah, he said my husband's dead, let me get married. Because the consequences are so severe, she's actually going to make sure that it's true. What are the consequences? She loses everything. She cannot be with her first husband, she can't be with the second husband. As the Gemara is going to say all the way at the end, it's a knas. We make her run after the second guy, even though he doesn't have to give her a get. Just, let's get a get from him too. Ve'ein lo ksuba. She doesn't get the nichsei milog, all the stuff, the nursing home that she brought into the marriage. V'loi peiros. The ksuba is nichsei tzoin barzel. V'loi peiros is milog. V'loi mezainos. So milog, the nichsei milog, is even from the second husband. V'loi mezainos. So if the second husband used stuff, because he's allowed to benefit from her nursing home, because he's her husband, but then they find out he was never her husband, he doesn't have to pay her back retroactively. V'loi mezainos. Imagine this, her husband disappeared for 10, 20 years. So she didn't have parnasah, so she's borrowing money, hoping that when her husband comes back, he'll pay it back. Her husband did come back, but she messed up and she married a second person. All the 20 years that she borrowed, the husband doesn't have to pay back. It's her responsibility. Typically, it would be the husband's responsibility. V'loi blais, and not the worn out clothing, loi alzeh v'loi alzeh, from both husbands. V'im notam mizeh u'mizeh, and if she took something from the husband's, taxer, she has to return. V'havlad mamzer mizeh u'mizeh. How much worse can it get? Her children are mamzerim. Now from the... why the first husband? These are knossos again. We'll see. The second guy's kids, of course, they're mamzerim. What did the first guy? What does that have to do with the first guy? They can't even go to her funeral. If she's a chaim, they can't go to the funeral. Yeah, if he's a, what did I say? Oh, if he's a chaim, he can't go to the funeral. He can't be metameter. Okay, over here, these are just part of the 16. This doesn't hurt her. This actually benefits her. But if she finds something, it doesn't go to them. If she works, her salary doesn't go to them. They have no right to annul her nedarim. If she is the daughter of a Yisrael and she married a Kain, she can no longer eat truma. Ubas Levi, and if she's the daughter of a Levi, mina meiser, ubas Kain mina truma. So if she's a Bas Yisrael, she can't marry a Kain anymore. If she's a Bas Levi, she can't eat meiser. If she's a Bas Kain, she can't eat truma. When Yorshin Shazeh, Yorshin Shazeh, Yorshin Mitzubasa, she's a Bas Kain, she goes back to her father, she can't eat truma. Tremendous knas. When Yorshin Shazeh, Yorshin Shazeh, Yorshin Mitzubasa, the Gemara is going to talk. She doesn't have a ksuba. What are the yarshining exactly? V'meisu achav shalzev achav shalzev chaltzam l'miyav. If these two husbands, one of them dies, she requires chalitza but no yibo. Rabbi Yossi argues. Ksubasa, there is a ksuba here. She doesn't lose her ksuba. Al nichsei bala rishon. The first guy has to pay ksuba. Another argument. The first guy does get anything she finds and her salary and could annul her nadarim mayfir the neder. Reb Shimon Omer bi asay chalitzasa. Reb Shimon argues on a number of things. First of all, he says there's yibum here. Bi asay chalitzasa sharishan. The first, obviously, the second guy is a nobody. He had no right getting married to her because she's married to the first one. But the yibum and chalitza of the brothers works poteres sarasa, and if he performs yibum or chalitza on one of the wives, the other wife goes out. Ve'in vla havlad mimenu mamzer. The first guy's children are not mamzerim. Another argument. Ve'imni says shaloi b'rshus. Now, Mishnah says if she gets married without permission, so you would think when you're reading the Mishnah without permission is a terrible thing. Permission is good. Without permission is not good. Over here, it's not like that. Without permission means she has such a strong reason to get married, she didn't need permission from Bezdin. What does that mean? Two Eidim. Two Eidim come and say, your husband is dead. So she doesn't have to bother and waste Bezdin's time. Two Eidim testified, her husband's dead. So she got married. Shloi b'rshus. Muteres lachzor loy. She got married to a second guy. It was a complete oinus. They fooled her. They made a mistake. So she's allowed to go back. Nises al pi bezdin. But if she only got married based on one aid, so she had to go to the bezdin to make sure everything is good. Teitze, uptur min akarban. She must leave her first husband, but she's parted from a karban because bezdin allowed her to get married. Lo nises al pi bezdin. So again, going back, if she got married based on two aidim, teitze, she must go out from the second guy. V'chayeves v'karban. She has to bring a karban. Says the Mishnah, Yafa koyach bezdin shapaytru min karban. The bezdin has the power that she doesn't have to bring a karban. Now listen to this chiddush atzum. Hayru bezdin linase. Bezdin told her she could get married based on the testimony of the aid. She's not eishesish. She's not an eishesish. So they gave her permission to get married. So listen to this chiddush. To me, it's a huge chiddush. She didn't get married, but she went and she's mizana. But she's not eishesish. Bezdin passing, she's not eishesish. No. They only passing that she could get married. They didn't passing she could go and be mizana. So on this nus, she's eishesish. You're dancing on two chasanas here. Eidecha came and said that her husband is dead. Say Bezdin, okay, she's not married to anybody. Not married to anybody. Go ahead and marry anybody else. She didn't do that. She went ahead and she mizana with somebody. Stop. She's chayiv misa. She's eishesish. Or whatever, she's chayiv. Why? Because Bezdin only said you could get married. They didn't say anything else. They didn't paskin that she's not eishesish and do whatever you want. It's not eishesish. It's a big chiddush. Haru Bezdin linase v'halcha v'kilkula chayeves v'karban. She's chayiv a karban. Shleiteru Eli nase. They only gave her a heter to get married, but not to not be chayiv a karban if she's mizana. Says the Gemara in Midiktani Seif and Nisa Shalei Rishus Muteres Lachzolai. If she got married without Rishus, the Gemara just explains what that means. Shalei Rishus. I explained to you that it means Eidim. Shalei Rishus Bezdin Ella Be'edim. What does Shalei Rishus Bezdin mean? That she didn't need Rishus. It was so powerful, the testimony, because it was two. So therefore, even though the lashon of the Mishnah doesn't seem like it, because the Mishnah says the first line, two people came and said your husband died. It doesn't mean two. It means there was testimony of one. So here you see from our Mishnah that one aid is believed that her husband is dead. With Nanami, we also learn in order to marry off a woman, you could have a testimony from a testimony, an aidus from an aid. Hearsay. Shkoyach, hearsay. V'isha mepi isha. Not only that, it could be a woman, and not only a woman that heard from another woman. That's how mekel we are. Not only that, v'isha mepi evet. A lower madrego, mepi shivcha. Alma idechad mehemen. Over here, you see the idea that one aid is believed. The Gemara is going to explain all the way to the end. Aguna ikiluba doesn't mean everywhere and everything. If one aid, huh?
People that are testifying, the two people that show up, there's two witnesses. Are they going to Bezdin or are they just going to the woman directly?
So it says that they went to the woman directly, because if they went to Bezdin, it's already Birshus Bezdin. No?
And she just says, when she gets married, I met these two people who showed up and told me that my husband died.
Yeah.
Good to go.
If one person testifies, you just ate chaylev. Chaylev is the fat in the animal that's usher to eat. This fat that you're allowed to eat, that's called shuman. This chaylev that's issa deraisa to eat. Only in animals like sheep and cows, but not a deer. Yeah, not a chaya, a behema. He denies it. 1/8 says you ate, and he himself he argues with the 8 potter. Says the Gemara, time is because he denies it. Ha'ishtik. But if he was quiet, mehemen. It's a big chiddush. Why? Because we're going to see that. How does it fit into the pasuk? It seems from the pasuk, in order to be chayav a carbon, you have to know it on your own, not that somebody told you. Alma eidecha mehemen midayraisa. What's the chiddush? What does that mean? He's nemon midayraisa. The nakuda is very important. Rashi points out, beautiful, because if you trust this one aid that you have to bring a carbon, you just brought an animal into the azara as a chatos, and that's chulin ba'azara. If you're not chayiv, you can't just bring an animal and shecht an animal in the Beis Hamikdash. That's chulin ba'azara. The only way you can bring the animals is if you're chayiv a chatos. You did an avera. So I'm trusting this one guy that you did an avera, and therefore you're not chayiv a noinish for bringing in a carbon into the Beis Hamikdash. That's what it means. How do I know that one aid is believed? His aveira became known to him. L'chayra means that other people shouldn't teach it to him. He knows it on his own. So maybe it means all the way to the end that even though he's quiet, somebody told him that he ate chaylev, he should be potter, because it says hoida. It should have said yoda. It says hoida. Hoida means it became known. It's in between. It became known through an aid. Then it's an awareness that creates a chiyuv to bring a chatas. You could kill a person. Capital punishment is based on the testimony of 2 people. So of course, if 2 people came and said, you're chayiv achatos, you're chayiv achatos. So obviously, that's not what the pasuk is coming to teach us. Elalav chad is coming to teach us even in a situation where there's one aid, and if he doesn't say anything, the aid is believed. Here we have a source that eidechad neman mistur. Shmamino eidechad neman. Says the Gemara, and the Gemara is going to slug this up. We don't have a source. It seems like we have a source that one aid is believed to say that you ate chaylev. Says the Gemara, Mamai, the Mishum the Mehemen, Dilma Mishum the Koshasik. How do we know that aid is believed? Maybe it's because he was quiet. Our case, think about it. Our case is no shtika koida. I was quiet, that means I agree. I ate a piece of fat, you caught me red-handed, you said, hey, you ate fat, you ate chaylev, daraisa, and I was quiet. That means I admit you got me. But if a woman, an aide comes and says to a woman, your husband died, and she's shoisik, she admitted to something. She has no clue. She wasn't in Africa. She doesn't know what happened over there. So there's no raya to our Mishnah. So how are you proving from this pasuk that one aide is believed? Teida, and I'll prove it to you. Diktani seifa. What's the proof? Think about what the proof is. It's a hard proof, but Rashi explains it. And the proof is all the way from then. If 2 people say you ate chaylev and he says I didn't eat chaylev, he's potter. Unbelievable. 2 against 1, potter. Gemara explains why. Remeir mechayev. Omer remeir kal v'choymer imeviyu shnayim l'dei misachamur le'yivu l'dei korban kal. What do you mean? 2 people said you ate chaylev. You ate chaylev. End the story. Omer loy ma'im yirtze loy ma'mei zedisi. Okay, this is a different sugi. We're not going into it. The point is that a person has a migui. Why? The only way you bring a chatos is if it was a mistake. If a guy stands up and says, it wasn't a mistake, I'm a big Rasha, I ate it on purpose, you don't bring a chatos. So the 2 Eidim don't have a power to force a guy to bring a chatos, because he could just say, he could say if he wanted to, it was on purpose, and maybe he doesn't think it's on purpose, maybe he thinks it's by accident, but he argues with the Eidim, so he has a trick to get out of his carbon. The point is that the machlokes, you see, look over here in the sefer. There's a machlokes here. It's a chap. Without Rashi, I wouldn't know what's flying here. Because there's a machlokes only. In this last case, in a case of 2 eidim, that means that when there's 1 aid, everybody agrees that if he was quiet, he's chayiv. Here's the proof that if he's quiet, he's chayiv. Says Gemara, my time become a chaim b'rabbanan. Well, sorry, Rachel. Who? Thank you, John. Where have you been for the last year and a half? It's actually 12 minutes according to that clock up there. Plus, we started late. It's the second Amud of the thing, and it's done purpose. Not Amud Aleph or Amud Beis. It's the second Amud. My time become a chaim b'rabbanan. When he's quiet, why do Chacham say he's chayiv? Ilay mishum demehemen, because Eid Echos believe. But Trey ba'alma da'afagav dikol makcheshlu inu. Look, what do Chacham say? Chacham say if two Eidim come and say you ate a piece of chaylev, potter. Why? Because he has a migun. So if one guy says you're chayiv, then you're chayiv. How's it possible? If two people come and say you ate chaylev, you're potter. So if one person says it. The case of one aid is a different case. He didn't say anything. He didn't deny it. He was quiet. So that's a case of shtika, that being quiet means that you admit guilt. How do you say it, Avi? In court. I don't know. Is there such a lashon in court? Yeah.
No. You have the right to remain silent.
Oh.
Silent
is consent.
That's not your
Oh, I didn't notice you all the way in the corner, Jonathan. By being quiet, self-incrimination. Okay. Ella Svari. You don't need. Okay, there's no pasuk. We started off saying there's a pasuk. No, there's no pasuk. When there's two pieces. One is a good piece of meat you could eat. It's fat that you're allowed to eat. It's part of the steak. And one is the part of the animal that you're not allowed to eat. I'm telling you it's kosher and he's believed. Now, Rabbi Isai, take a look at this and see why that doesn't apply to our Mishnah. There's an obvious question here. There's an A that says that this piece of fat is kosher. But I just want to point out, this is where Rashi says over here, that if you don't believe Eid Echad, the reason why I believe, Eid Echad is believed. Why? And if you don't believe him, says Rashi, you'd never be able to eat at your friend's house. You'd never be able to eat in your own house. So I want to tell you, Maisa Shahaya here in Ramah Bet Shemesh, there was a woman who was a caterer for many years. And everybody bought her stuff and it was all Behechshar Abadas, That's for you. Not for you, Eitan. Mr. Charcuterie boards, whatever. Okay, so I buy from him all the time. Oh, he has action. Okay, he has action. There's a sign going up on the front door, by the way. No, turn off your cell phones. It's a big, unless you're a doctor, of course, and a Levi. So, and Paul. So, one day, her friend asked her a question. She said, how are you mafresh challah from all the breads you make? Ma'aseh Shaya here, you could ask around. And she said, what's hafrashas challah? She was about Shuva. She never heard of the idea. Never heard of the concept. So that's why they were misakin, that commercially, and people are biased commercially. And here's another thing. I was asking around yesterday about Hafrashas Challah, and there's a lot of people that don't even know the basics of Hafrashas Challah, even within our community. And I'll just tell you real quickly what I found. Midairaisa, or if you have 5 pounds of dough, 2.2 kilo, you're mafresh challah with a bracha. But you are mafresh, people might not know this. You should still be mafresh challah on a lesser amount, even if it's like 3 pounds. 3 pounds and up, you should be mafresh without a bracha. And then again, there's a lot of halachas that the freezer is considered a kli. So if you make a bunch of batches of cookies and you put it into the freezer, it's mitzaref at all, and then you have 5 pounds, and then you chayiv with the bracha. Okay, things like that. Weiter. So people should think about cholent and that kind of stuff without a hechsher. There are heterim because you really know the guy, and there's no way he's going to do it. Okay, fine. I'm not a rav, I'm not passing. Ask your local rabbi. Next. We have plenty of time, so what does Rabbi Malun say?
Used to say a black kippah is not a hechsher.
A black kippah is not a hechsher. If the woman doesn't have a kippah, then what? Says the Gemara, me dummy. This is typical Gemara. These are things that we actually could take to our life, skills in business. To take two things and know how to see the difference between them. Me dummy. You have a piece of fat. Nobody knows what it is or what it isn't. Nobody's saying that it was treif, and now somebody's saying it's not? We don't know. It's a white, rubbery thing. And a guy says, I'm telling you, this is kosher. I fouled the animal, it came from a kosher. Okay, great. What does that have to do with our sugya? Our sugya, the woman was a married woman. She's Eishes Ish. And we're depending on a Eidacha to say that she's not a Eishes Ish anymore. Completely different case. When it comes to Erva, you need two Eidim. It's psukim, okay. Holidamia, I'll tell you what it's similar to. This is similar to the case where there was a piece of fat that was osir timid rice. Everybody knew this is it. Then he's arguing against the Metzias. The Shuman it's kosher. The loy man, he's not believed. So she's married to Eishes. She's married to a man. She's Eishes. And then Eidecha says she's not Eishes. Similar. Again, it's not similar. Why? Midami. You're talking about a fact. The fact is, this is a piece of fat that I know for a fact that it's awesome. Now, the one guy wants to say, he wants to argue with the Metzias. All they're saying is, the guy that came to say, he's testifying that he died. Yes, she was Eishes, but something happened, something changed. Okay, now I'm going to bring you a raya from these three things. Tevel, we learned the other day, we know what the musag is. You have a pile of fruit, you're supposed to take truma, you're supposed to take meiser, you're supposed to take meiser sheni, meiser ani. You didn't do anything. It's tevel. It's a pile of fruit that you're not allowed to eat. Even a kohen who gets the truma, he's allowed to eat meiser, and he eats from that pile, chayiv misa, we learned, right? Tevel. Hegdish, I take an animal, I say this is for the Beis Hamikdash. Kainamais, I say this thing is aser on me like a kainam, which is a lashon of like a carbon. It's making a neder on an object. I'm not going to use that object. And now we have Rabbi Isai, 10 lines of freebies. It's the same thing 3 times in a row. Hi Tevel Echidam. What is the case of Tevel? Ididei, he owns the fruit. You know why he's believed? Mishum de biyado letakna. He could just take 1%, 2%, whatever he wants of the fruit, and say a few words, make a truma, and everything is good. So it's in his hand to fix it. He's believed. Elo da'acher. No, we're talking about it's his neighbors. So, whoa, time out. If you don't need, I could do my friend a favor, take my fruit, and say it's truma, my friend. So again, he's believed because he could do so. And if he cannot be mafresh truma for his friend, but he's just testifying that I know for a fact that my friend took truma. I was there when he took it. Again, what's the source that he's believed? And now we say the same exact thing by Hegdish and Koinamis. Hegdish Nami. What happened with Hegdish? Igdish is damim. There's 2 types of animals. I could say this animal is for the Mizbeach, and it's Kaddish Gdush Zaguf. I cannot redeem it. Or I could say this animal is for the Beis Hamikdash. They could do whatever they want. They could sell it and use the money for the Beis Hamikdash. If it's just monetary Kedusha, Mishum de biyadai levdaisai, it's because he has the ability to redeem it. Okay, so then he's believed. Igdush is a gov, but if he cannot redeem it, so why is he believed? If it's his own, he does have a way to do it. He goes to the Rav, said I made a mistake. I didn't know, whatever it is, he could get out of it because it's like a regular neder and he could get out of the carbon. But if it's his neighbors, and he says, I know that my neighbor, he went to the Rav, and the Rav said it's not a carbon anymore. He gufim minola. How do we know that a Eidecha is believed? Koinamis nami. Same thing with a kainam. So what happened? He took this animal, he said it's a kainam. Well, what is kainam? If it just means he can't use it, it's one thing. If he meant that it has a little bit of kedusha, it's another problem. Oh, sorry. If it has kedusha's damim mishum the other v'daisa, again, if we treat it as kedusha, then he's able to redeem it. Because if he's just making it usher on himself, it's just a regular isser of a neder. So again, ididei, if it's his, he can get out of it. It's his friends. Again, how do we know? Omer here goes. This is what we discussed before. Because you gave her 16 consequences. Therefore, she's mutter to use that eidecha and get married. Says the Gemara, what's the lashon? Don't give me 16. Huh? Ankin Taivis. Michael Taivis. You give me 16 chumras and then you say, okay, use that. Don't do that and don't do that. Don't give me 16 chumras and don't be makel on it. Why were you so makel? Lo yilachmer v'lo yileikem. Says Gemara, Mishum Miguna Akilu Barabban. It's a special halacha. We don't want these women to remain agunois. Teitzim izeh mizeh. If she got married based on one aid, Rabbi said, a fun thing is coming up. A nice game I'm going to play with you. Omer Rav, don't run away yet. It's coming up. Says Rav, if she's got married by one aid, says the Mishnah, Teitzim izeh mizeh. She has to get divorced from both. Says Rav, you hear this? What does it mean? Says Rav, if she got married to a second guy with two Eidim, then her husband knock on the door. Here he is. Shalom Aleichem. How you doing? I missed you. Wow. Says Rav, you don't have to get divorced from the second guy. It's impossible. Says Gemara, the mamish laughed in Eretz Yisrael. Also, he's there, he's standing, the original husband. But we didn't. He was unrecognizable. So over here is the very famous mice of the Vilna Gaon, that a guy, it's mice Shaya, and you ask how is it possible, I'll tell you how it happened. A true story. There was two guys in jail for many years. Many years. You're talking about 20 years later, a guy shows up in Vilna, and he says, I'm your wife, I'm your husband. She says, what are you talking about, your husband? You don't sound like him, you don't look like him. She says, what do you mean? We got married over here, we said this to each other, we did this together, we have these children, the names, the ages. We went out, here's our first date, we were over here, second date, everything. She says, I don't recognize you. Yeah, it's 30 years, look at my new beard and everything. But you were gingy, now you're this. Okay, no, fine. They went to the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon said, bring him to shul Friday night, and let's see where he sits down. Don't tell him where to sit. And if he goes to his seat, then that's the guy. He came to shul, and he's like a hanbim b'nei adam, he had no idea what to do. He started going here, started going there. They said, no, go to your seat. That he didn't know. What's the pshat? He was a cellmate with this guy. And for 30 years, he got all the information about the guy's wife, about the guy's children, and everything. And they came, and he wanted to be a Rosh Merusha. They caught him. Check this out. It says the Gemara. What was the point? Dav Shebekdusha you didn't think of. Very good. Yeah. That's how you have to theorize. Last time you didn't fix me. Okay, this time. Dav Shebekdusha you didn't think of. All the other Balgan. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? If we don't recognize him, so we don't recognize him, why should he go out? No, there are two people that said, we were with him the entire time. From the time he left the chutzlars in jail, we were with him. It's you guys that don't recognize him. The brothers did not recognize Yosef, but he recognized them. He left without a beard. Check this out, Rabbi Sai. Oh, this is our first challah, 5 pounds. This is what 5 pounds looks like. You need a bracha, 3 pounds not. But check this out. You ready? Not this one. Who's this? You see the difference of a zakon and not a zakon. Now, I have this. If you know this person, he happens to be your brother, don't say who this is. But this is a guy from the shir. Who is this? Rabbi Sai, if you don't know who this is, you can see the Edelkeit. You can see that this guy is destined to godless. Huh? So this is what happened in Vilna. He shows up, Shalom Aleichem, this is me. So I don't reckon. Yeah. Rabbi Sai, if you know this guy, also from the shir, who's this? Blonde beard, blonde hair.
Is that the Bulls game?
No, Zampurim. All right, the bottom line is that don't think that this Chasim Azakan thing is a joke. It's the real thing. Okay, we have to turn the page though. So how is she allowed to remain with her original husband? But she got married through two Eidim, Trey. Says the Gemara, since she has a doubt How's she allowed to remain? There's a doubt here. She married, you know what, let's stop over here. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful Shabbos, don't fall off the boat,